I begin properly. I have kind of learned to build good on a server which is mainly focused on building to scale, which means that if you have a real life building, you build it to that scale in Minecraft, usually 1:1 scale, or you could build 1.5:1, which would be a bit bigger. But generally, I prefer, particularly on EMC, to do a 1:1 scale.
Oh.
Because it's a lot easier and a bit smaller, and you don't have to do maths. The way you do this, and this is like the most important building trick ever for planning, is you just take measurements on Google Maps.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great trick.
Useless.
You can do it's in German for me, obviously, but you can do this as the bottom option to measure distances. You can make 2 points, and then it will tell you that it's 23 something meters, right? Once you know that, you can place that out in on a creative server with some kind of marker block. You can use wool or something. And then you plan out the entire building before you start building it.
Yeah.
Particularly, remember this on EarthMC, is that you have sometimes space limits with the chunks you have, or certain, other buildings that are in the way. And so you sometimes have to make things smaller or bigger, depending on whether the area allows it. For example, for this courtyard here, in real life, it's a lot longer than the one I made in game, because of space reasons mainly in Rome. You have to kind of envision what you want to build. Building, this is you have to remember this. Building without planning always leads to unforeseen consequences, and nobody likes unforeseen consequences. It's usually that some sort of pillars don't line up, or it becomes terribly asymmetric for some reason. Yeah, well, I'll just make new planning. Okay, so imagine we wanted to build that monastery that I'm just showed you on the Google Maps, which is something I already built.
Yeah.
The way you would go about planning this is, I think this is the very basics, but it's kind of important to know. You line out the building, how big it would be. Generally, if the measurement says 42 meters or something, 2 blocks at the center is never good. You always want to have a 1 block center. It's much easier for building. It's so much better for symmetry. It makes everything easier. So just if it says 42, just make 41. Doesn't matter. It's a tiny bit of difference. It'll work out anyways. This one said 23, so you can do marker this block and then do stack /stack 22, and it'll give you 22 additional blocks basically, and then there will be a 23 block line. Basic worldedit commands.
Yeah, that's.
And then you go back to your Google Maps and you take the next measurement, and then you line out this side of the building. Now, when you've got the basic outline, what you want to do next is plan out where doors and windows go, because doors and windows are kind of your main thing to for scale. If you say that, oh, I want a big door, I want a 5 block wide door, and you have to plan out where the pillars go, right, and then where the other doors go. See, if this is something that if I had already started building would be a huge problem right now, because everyone wanted to make 5 block wide doors. You can see that the pillars would somehow have to be 2 blocks wide, right? And then you have to think about how to make pillars 2 blocks wide, or alternatively, you can obviously change your plan with the 5 block doors. I think I actually did it by just expanding the building a little bit, and then I had more blocks to play with. That's also an alternative, right? And you plan out the pillars on the inside. For this one, you have this sort of cloister thingy with pillars all around. You have to kind of plan that the pillars line up with the doors. So you don't want to have a pillar here because that would be a bit weird. From the main door, you just walk into a pillar. Right? There's all things you have to consider. And then you just continue the planning until you have the feeling that you are sure that you could do something with this. You don't just start placing pillars and then you suddenly notice, oh, if I do the pillars like this, then these pillars would be 3 blocks apart and these pillars would be 2 blocks apart. That would be, looks terrible. You have to plan it out first. Then you can see, oh, these are 3 blocks, these are 3 blocks, and then this alleyway, this little pathway here on the side would be a bit small, right? So then perhaps you don't want to make the pillars 3 blocks wide, but maybe just 2 or something. 2 won't work because the entrance is 1 block centered, but you know what I mean. You adjust the pillars so that this can be a decent width. These are all problems that are terrible to fix if you have already done most of the building, but are very easy to spot when you do proper planning. Right? Okay, that's the main lesson on planning, is to always plan your builds, particularly if they're more complicated. Particularly if you want to do stuff like rounded chapel things, like I have the monastery in Israel. This rounded thingy here, obviously a bit weird to do with the windows, so it all kind of lines up. This isn't a particularly good solution, but it works for this. After you've completed the planning, you have to think about block choices. Generally, there are blocks that go along very well. So, for example, the sandstone and birch go along pretty well, and you can use it as sort of highlights and shadows to make things more visible. Because the problem in Minecraft is you don't have weathering like in real life, where you have certain areas that are more dark because they are more exposed to the elements or something. So you have to do that with different types of blocks, because all the sandstone blocks sort of have mostly the same. So you have to use stuff like birch to put highlights in. Same with other block combinations. If you were building with, say, over here with the cathedral red sandstone, you could use stuff like orange concrete or something, or acacia logs that I used here to put a different color accent in, because if it's all the same, it looks a bit boring. Or if it has to be all the same because you can't find a good matching block, you have to make it somehow interesting with the way you shape the thing. This doesn't have to be acacia because in general this already has quite an interesting shape, right? You have all of the different sandstone decorations, so you don't really need a highlighter block for the orange. But that's sort of stuff that you run into while building, and that you can always adjust when you are building the main building. Now, this is also an important lesson. The way I learned building is not by inventing everything myself, obviously. Is when you're building, you never have to reinvent the wheel. If you see something that looks good, you can take it, adjust it, and incorporate it into your own build. For example, these windows that I pretty much always make, with the walls and the window being 1 block into the building, I obviously didn't come up with that. That's been around for ages in the building community, if you will. But obviously, I don't just copy everything. I just use a certain design and incorporate it into the building that I want to make. And that's an important thing, is that you look at other people's builds and you perhaps see something that looks like something that you want to do, like a certain arch or a sort of decoration on top of a window that you think that could work for what I'm trying to make. And then you can take that and use it on your building. Perhaps change the blocks around a bit so it fits better. But what you don't do, and this is something that happens on EMC a lot, is you just take the whole design, do put the same wall there, it's all the same, and you maybe change around the blocks a little. That not only is theft of build design, it's also just boring for your own learning process.
Mhm.
That's the key about learning how to build, is to adapt things, not just take them from other builds, but to take them and make them different. And the best way to learn how to build is to just build. That's what I would say. And to take your time when building. Again, what I've said in the beginning, planning is the main thing about building. When you have good planning, you have so much less trouble later that you can just build ahead, and then you just build stuff, and then it looks good.
I'm wondering about that. How do you get like a good layout for a town?
Oh, for a town is pretty hard. I'm
Because,
terrible at town planning.
Because I have like I have my plans for a town, right? I want to make a big, strong town.
Yeah.
Just a bit like Jerusalem, right? Different streets. They're all a bit different. They're all beautiful in their own way. Maybe a bit of height in different places. Those kinds of things. But I have no clue where to start, so it's very hard for me to like do anything but make straight roads.
Yeah, that's perhaps a problem with EMC, is that you have this sort of chunk grid system that you're sort of tied to. And that's something that you will notice in Jerusalem, is that each of the houses fits into one chunk. It's just that they are slightly cut off at some parts to make them appear round-ish.
True, down to use quarters, but they're a bit annoying to use from time to time.
Yeah, yeah. That's I'm really not good at town planning. That's the point. Whenever I built a proper city, I just copied a real city. So for example, I built Munich on a big build server. I just kept to the street system of Munich. But obviously you can make perhaps a more planned city, like a Baroque city or something, with a sort of star grid system for the streets. That's something that you can just plan out yourself. That's not that difficult to do. And then you just put the buildings along the roads.
I mean, for me, designing and the layout are the hardest things for me to do. Cause like I have a basic thing in my head I want to make, right?
Yeah.
But then when I need to find block colors and stuff, my brain just goes, no. And then I falter, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the thing with the realistic building that I'm mainly doing, is that I don't have to worry about block choices, because I can just look at the thing that's there in real life and then check what blocks in Minecraft look like that. And then I just, build that. But for the Roman monastery, for example, it was pretty hard to find good blocks that actually looked like the one IRL. And so I just went with a good block combination that I knew worked, like sandstone with the normal terracotta, the not colored terracotta. That just looks good in general, You can do the same for your city with that as well. So sandstone and bricks just go well together. That just always works.
I'm building like the Spanish monastery right now. TP to me and you'll see it, whatever it is. Like,
right.
Like I it's not finished, but it's just trash. Like I don't like these windows. Like I just don't like
they are
it.
round.
Yeah.
Do you have a realistic a real building that you base it off?
No, I'm just experimenting. Like
See,
right
that's
now.
the problem. This is another, I think, important lesson that I for myself learned. I'm not a very creative builder. I'm not very good at coming up with things myself, because I'm not that much of a creative person. So I stick to what I can copy from real life, because the people who build the buildings in real life are proper architects and they know
Yeah,
what they're
okay.
doing, right? And so they know how things should look like, so it actually looks good. And
Yeah.
whenever I do something by myself, it,
Yeah,
starts looking
I-
weird at some point.
I did follow your advice on like making guest rooms and the monk rooms like different parts of the building. Like the guest rooms are here. If you go up here, the monks are here. Like it's like a separate part of the building,
Yes,
and
that
they are
is
empty, of course, as you
very
said.
good. I think something that you could do is make the ceiling a bit more interesting,
How so?
because it's just flat right now, and you could make some sort of really easy pattern with that.
Yeah.
Something. Oh, these are evenly spaced, but you could do something like this,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and then
Okay.
some sort of arch right here. Nah, that doesn't look good. Perhaps more like this. It's the one thing that I noticed about building is when you starting to learn these little patterns that you can use, it becomes actually relatively easy to build good, because you just have a repertoire of things that look good, similar with the block palettes, which I said earlier.
Yeah.
Is I don't know if that looks good. You can play around with that a little bit. Maybe, or just do a basic arch over the whole thing.
It's a reminder. It's a reminder.
Yeah.
Monastery is a bit packed for my liking. I was just goofing around testing stuff. Small, a bit packed.
Need this altar when you have this altar, and then you can make this altar bigger.
I mean, I do not have this like this space like to make it bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bigger in what perspective? Just like
Look.
just add this, right? Oh.
Right.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like doing an actual high altar.
Yeah, that is I. Okay. Right. Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just this here.
No, but that's my main sort of thing that I do, at least, is to copy of real buildings from the real world, because it makes things so much easier, because I'm not an architect. I'm just kind of good at making real buildings in Minecraft.
Okay. I'll look up for like Benedictine monasteries in Spain.
Oh, there are some great ones.
I'll inspire myself on that.
Is there any more questions on building though, or have I been too fast with my explanations?
No, you've explained yourself quite well, honestly.
Well, I would have a question regarding interior. When it comes,
I knew.
What?
I knew this was coming. I hate interior.
Yeah, I hate it too. But when it comes to interiors, regarding the height and the width.
The
No.
width.
Yes, yeah, the width.
Okay. See.
How
That's
to get them properly? Because this is the thing I
Yes.
definitely struggle
Yes.
with.
That's something I. Yes, that's something I should have mentioned. When planning, if you want to make an interior for your building, consider your interior. So if we go back to my little planning example.
Oh, how can you teleport to your waypoint?
Wait, you can't teleport with this. Look,
Yeah.
but you can set a temporary waypoint and then teleport to that.
Yeah, just like
You can
click it.
press
What?
T.
Okay.
For example, you cannot get it with Google Maps. I doubt you can get the height
Exactly.
and the width.
Yeah. Okay, look, come to my building example again.
I don't have perms. What the flip? What's the flip?
You can look at my
I-
stream.
I'm looking at
or
your
look-
stream. I'm recording it too.
So
What's the flipper?
if you have a building, I always like to do the floor 1 block higher than the ground because
Mhm.
that makes it a bit nicer to go up a stair. That's quite normal for real buildings as well. That you
Yeah.
don't just enter on ground level. You
Yes.
go up a few steps and then you're on the right. And then when you have this, you think about how much detail you want in your rooms. Do you want really easy rooms, or do you want more complicated rooms? If you want more complicated rooms, you have to have bigger windows. So in general, I would say 4 blocks is, for a building like your residence or my monastery, a good height for windows, right?
Mhm.
It may look a bit big in relation to the player, but you
Mhm.
need this space to make something like ceiling decorations work. If you want
Yes.
ceiling decoration like this, it looks really shitty if it's here,
Yeah.
right? Or here. It has to be kind of up here or even 1 block higher.
Mhm.
Now, again, with your planning, when you plan the building in its height, you've laid out your ground floor plan, you know where all of the pillars go, you know where you want your windows to be, you how high you want each floor to be. You first make a window as your point of reference, basically, and then you check on the real building how much space there is between the windows. If you have like cool window decorations going like around, perhaps even ones that are 2 blocks high. Wait, for the Roman monastery, I don't know where it is now. There. You can see that I put 1, 2, 3, and then the window decoration, and then 5 blocks till the next window.
Mhm.
Because I wanted to make interesting rooms with nice ceiling decoration, and the library is obviously huge and has the floor even lower, so you see where that extra space is needed.
Mhm.
You have to always consider that your floor is at least 1 block for the next floor. You know, the next. And this is complicated. It's the same word in English, but you know what I mean. That the floor blocks have to be 1 block at least, and then you need at the very least, 1 block to make a ceiling. And
Yeah.
then you have to consider that you still want some kind of space between the window and the ceiling.
Yes.
That's something you have to consider while planning, and then you have to design how much space between each windows. That's your basic answer on how to get the height, and the width is a whole different question. It's basically you just do your building, you do the planning, and while you do the floor plan, and you can always use a different color of wool for this, you always remember that there has to be a separate block on the inside, or there should be if you want to make a nice looking room. right? And then
Mhm.
if you have a really small area of your house, and then you have your planning, and then you do this, and you realize 3 blocks is a bit little for a room, right?
Mhm.
And then you have to just consider, do I put this further? Or do I just live with a very small room? Is that basically, when planning, you always consider that there has to be an interior, and that there always has to be a second block on the inside. That's my basic answer.
Mhm.
And again, only when you have planned out everything, so that you have all of the rooms set, and you know how big you want your rooms, and you know that it works out with the outside walls and it works out with the windows, then you actually start building. Because otherwise you're just going to have so many unforeseen consequences.
Yeah. What
This
about?
is
Mhm.
another thing I just wanted to say, because it happened to me quite a few times. You want at least 2 blocks here between the edge of the building and the window, because if the window is here,
Yeah.
it's inside the wall.
Yeah.
That's not good. It looks terrible from the outside and from the inside.
And what about the symmetry of rooms? When is it needed and when is it not needed?
That's really up to you. Well, this is something where I would say good knowledge of architecture is good, but maybe not quite necessary. For example, this here is a very, very typical door arrangement for European palaces. You have the doors all on one side, and you can look through the entire doors all the way to the end of the hall, basically. And then you have the rooms always on one side, basically stretching out sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Alternatively, you could also have the doors in the middle, but I think that takes away more space from the room, right?
Yeah.
Because then you have to have the middle area bookshelf here, and you can't have the nice sofas and So this is a very typical door arrangement, which isn't symmetric. Same with this is generally a thing about rooms. Big rooms like these look better when they're symmetric. Whereas smaller rooms like an office doesn't really matter. It's an interior room. You know how interior rooms look like. You put a bookshelf where it fits. You don't just put a bookshelf somewhere because you want it to be symmetric.
Mm-hmm.
But with more representative rooms,
Mm-hmm.
you want them to be more, neatly planned. But yeah, special, very symmetric, very optically pleasing. Same with bedrooms. Just put stuff somewhere where it fits. Yeah, I did the same with the doors on this side as well. So these also aren't symmetric. But with a big library like this, you should want it to be at least somewhat symmetric. There's a door here and not a door there, but it's pretty much the only thing that isn't symmetric about the library.
And what about the roofs? Can you give some recommendations how to properly get roofs?
You again look on the real building, and with Italian buildings like this one, they pretty much always have this kind of flat roof that you just do slabs. Looks fine. With perhaps more German buildings, you sometimes have roofs with stairs, right? And you are going to think when you're getting up that this is going to get massively tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels wrong to be building this high for your roof, but it's fine. I have to tell this to myself all the time as well. It's fine. It will look fine. If you look at the buildings in real life, the roofs are massive. They make up like double the amount of the actual building sometimes. They are huge. So don't worry about the roof getting too tall. Just continue what you're doing. It just really depends on what the style is you're going for and what the real building is. But you're basing it off, and then you will see whether the roof is more steep or more flat.
Mm-hmm. And what about creating domes?
Those you do with worldedit. I can't do domes normally. I always do them with worldedit.
How?
You do // sphere, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then you do diamond blocks. Where are my diamond blocks? I do a number. That's the radius of the sphere. For example, 6. Oh, actually, you do H sphere because you want it to be a hollow. Makes it easier. And then you have a sphere, and then you can just... You don't cut off at the middle. You cut off a bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
Because real domes aren't sphere shaped. They are slightly not sphere shaped. They're a bit taller than they were, as if they were a proper half sphere. So you cut it off a bit lower, so you have a little bit more blocks on the first row, basically. But if you want to make a big dome like the one for St. Peter's, it's a lot more advanced, and there's a different worldedit command for that, which I don't think I can explain to you right now.
Why not?
Because I forgot how it works. You have to do // and then you do ellipsoid. Is it ellipsoid? I think it is ellipsoid.
Uh-huh.
And then you make a polyhedron sphere. Oh. And then you can make points with that. And then you can make a stretched sphere. Right? No? Maybe? Oh. Oh, this isn't working.
This is a cube.
I know. Oh, it's not sphere. Okay, is it? It's not convex ellipsoid. Ah. Ah, there you go. An ellipsoid. And you make that to fit your thingy.
And why did you
Google?
Why did you took ellipsoid instead of a normal sphere?
Sorry?
Because why did you took an ellipsoid for the St. Peter's Dome instead of a sphere?
Because it's not sphere shaped. If you look at the real thing, you see that if you make a sphere, it looks odd because
too round.
It's too round. It's too small. Okay. It's not high enough. The real one is a lot steeper and therefore higher, which makes it ellipsoid shaped.
I see.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah, why the fuck am I hearing Hearts of Iron flow? Why am I hearing Hoi 4 playing on the background?
Yeah, I would have the question again regarding the interior. How to hold on. I need to Google real quick what I mean. How to properly is it also more like you watch how others do it and you repeat what you like when it comes to the furniture?
Yes,
of
exactly.
The interior.
Well, furniture. Do you asking how to make furniture or where to place?
What do you mean where to place?
Like in a room where the furniture goes.
It's think it's more about how to make it.
Yeah, it's the same as with other designs. You just see what other people do, and then you can see how you incorporate that into your own design. It's really important to differentiate between taking inspiration from other builders and stealing their builds. Like, wait, where is it? Somewhere on here, on the build server, there is a version of the Dominican Friary. Yes, yeah. They have very interesting choir stalls. If you look at my stream,
Yeah, I'm looking.
they look very interesting.
In what
They
sense?
are
Interesting.
They are an exact copy of the ones I built in the chapel of my monastery in
Oh, hell no.
Jerusalem. Wait, where are they? Looks familiar.
Yeah.
That's not cool. But if you like the idea of putting like stairs behind each other and then the trapdoors in between and the whole building around it, you could do that. Just don't do it like this. Just come up with something yourself. Like you can make a more Gothic design here, or can use different inspiration. I used the choir stalls of a German monastery for this. You can just look up choir stalls and how they look like, and then you can do something like that with the possibilities of Minecraft without taking something someone already built.
You said in the beginning that the block length, it should always be not 42 but like 41 or 43, for example. Does this matter for all sides and every wall? Or only for the front?
It matters for every wall. How do you say this? Every wall that is freestanding. Wait, I can show you an example of what I mean. Okay, so if you have a wall like this on your building, and then your building goes like this maybe, and then like this, and then like this, and then over here or something. Do it properly. You would want take a different block. This wall, this wall, this wall, and this wall to be one block centered, because you want to have something where you can have a middle point here. This wall doesn't really matter. You could have a window here and a window here, and it doesn't really matter what the distance is on this side, right? That could be one block or it could be 2 blocks. It doesn't really matter. There's another wall here. It will look fine anyways.
So always the sides which are on the most outside.
Yes. I would say that you will notice this when planning, because you will plan out where your windows go, and when you have your, is this one? Yeah. When you put one window here and one window here, you can see there's this little space to the edge of the building, but there's this much space between the two windows. Looks weird, right? You want them to be somewhat at a reasonable distance from one another. Or if you want to have one in the middle, right, would be 2, and then this, you have just too many windows. There's just this little wall and so much windows. Also looks weird. And then you notice how you have to adjust the building. Another technique for worldedit is look, if you now made your beautiful window on this side, I can make it more beautiful. Oh, it's very, very beautiful window, right?
Sure.
If you don't want to build the same on the other side, again, it's just annoying repetition. What you do is you copy this side of the building. Basically, if you've already finished the outside walls and stuff, you just go to the middle point of the building, which is here, and take a second point over on the edge of the building here. You put yourself in the middle, turn this way, and do / copy, / flip, and / paste. And now your beautiful window on the other side as well. And also, this is when you're doing everything from hand, you sometimes do things a little bit different, maybe, with your designs. This makes sure that your building stays perfectly symmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
Because both sides are exactly the same because you copied them.
Mm-hmm. Is the worldedit a mod? Or what is it?
It's both a mod and a plugin. We have it as a plugin on this build server.
Okay. So, if you can come to me real quick. So, you mentioned this thing with the inside and outside wall. For example, if the cobble here is our normal wall, and the red room is our interior wall. Should, if there is one interior wall, should there be always also an exterior wall to, balance that?
No. The cobblestone is the exterior wall.
But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the building, for example, here, you see it. The windows is on the inside wall.
Yeah,
I see.
You can make an exterior wall, but that just gets really complicated and you lose a lot of space.
Yeah. Does it look better or?
Yes, because you can make you can decorate the windows from the inside too.
What do you mean by this? Decorate windows in the inside.
Okay. It would be easier if I had an example.
And then maybe St. Peter's?
No. Yes, actually. St. Peter's does have an interior and an exterior wall. Okay, so fly over here with me.
Yes.
Okay, this window, for example.
TPs. Okay.
There's actually more than just one exterior wall, but you have to ignore this. You see how it's all decorated? There's this arch here at the top, making the window slightly round and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you go on the inside... Oh. There's also this arch on the top, and then there's different blocks here. There's decoration on both sides.
It's like a mini room.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Generally, I often use this on my creative building server where I used to play. Teleport to me real quick.
Yeah.
If you have this as your outside wall, and this is your actual inside wall, you can have the window here.
Yeah.
And you can have cobblestone walls on the outside and sandstone walls on the inside, right?
Yes.
And then the window is the same side on the outside and the inside, right?
Yeah.
because it has the walls on. That's something that that if you don't have this extra space in the middle, you don't have, basically. So right now on the buildings that I'm making on EMC, as you know, the windows are bigger on the inside than they are on the outside. Look, there's 3 blocks here, and then it's just 2 blocks basically on the outside.
Why so?
Because no space otherwise. There's from here to here 3 blocks of window of glass. On this side, lots of the glass is covered up. You only have this bit of glass and this bit of glass from the.
Mm. But why why is it profitable to have the window smaller on the outside than on the inside?
It's not really a problem. It's just, you know.
No. Why is it profitable? I mean,
because you gain a block. Look, if say what you want to build, you have 9 blocks of space for it,
mm-hmm.
and then you have your second exterior wall for the window. And then you have this is where the building ends, because it's just 9 blocks wide, as I said. And then the actual interior wall would be this. Look how much space you lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Without the blue interior wall, you still have this much space.
Mm-hmm. Is it always like a must-have to have the windows in, like, on either the inside wall or at least on the middle wall in the case of St. Peter's or other very big buildings? Or could there also be the case where it looks good to have it on the outside wall, like the window?
I mean, yes, you could also put it on the outside. I think the thing with that is the outside is more important because it's what more people see, right? And when you have the window decorations on the inside, making the windows smaller, like with walls, for example, then if you now imagine that the red is our inside and the yellow is our outside, you can always see the walls, right?
Yeah.
And so if this is your outside and this is what you want as your more important side,
yes,
that looks weird.
Yeah.
While on this side, it looks better.
Yeah. I see. Would you recommend to use hold on, like the thin type of glass, or
Yes.
could glass blocks also do the job?
I would say glass blocks if you are doing the with the double with the triple wall, but with if you have this be your interior wall already, you kind of want to have a little bit of space between the actual floor and the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And a Fensterbank. What it's called in English.
Yeah, I see. Very interesting.
And another thing that you can do very well is if you are building an interior which has a block that fits to some kind of wall, you can always do this to make the window in total be more laid into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I think this looks kind of good. This is just a kind of building trick that kind of good to use. One of the designs that you can adapt for your own buildings. More questions?
I don't know. What else do you think would be important?
I think more questions would arise when you start building. So when you just build something, you will eventually come to a point where you feel like, you might need help with something there because it's, I don't know, doesn't quite work out and you can't find a solution on your own. And then it's always good to ask for help. And I'm always happy to answer building questions, obviously. And the main thing is that you have to get experience. You just have to build something to get better.
What would you recommend, like, with what one should start building? For learning, for practice reasons?
Yeah. Interior is really hard. So don't try to do something with interior. Just try to do exterior stuff first and try to do something that is very repetitive, because I think the main thing is in building is that you see that you are building good stuff. So when you see that what you're building looks good, you feel like you want to do more building.
Yeah.
And that obviously helps when you get practice. So do something that is repetitive, but also good looking. Like the Japanese buildings that I showed you earlier. I can just post them in the chat here. Wait just a moment.
Or stream them. I'm looking at your stream.
Yes, but I'm only streaming the Minecraft.
Yeah.
Quickly put them in the VC chat. Something like this, where you just basically build one window or like two windows, the two that are on top of each other, and then you just copy paste that around, and then you just add all of the additional decoration stuff. Something like that. It's relatively easy to adapt into a building. That's relatively quick as well, because you can just copy paste stuff of worldedit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but it's the most important thing about building is to do good planning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing. Just plan out your build before you build it, and then it makes a whole lot more fun, and you probably get a better result.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the main thing that I hope you should take away from this tiny course on crash course on building.